Frankfort is built on two bends of the river. The first people who surveyed here also came up the river, and they are responsible for what's called Leestown, which is the first settlement in Franklin County. The man that we have to thank for the commercial use of the river is General Wilkinson. And of course, he was quite the scoundrel, but he realized that the Kentucky River fed right into the Ohio, which fed right into the Mississippi, and in a journey of probably 15 days or something like that, you could be in New Orleans. Very, very early on, the river was kind of like a creek would be. There were places where it was very shallow, and when steamboats came in about, I think 1818 was the first steamboat, they had to wait for the river to be up, and soon they learned that we needed several dams on the Kentucky River to make it navigable all the time. Later on, logging came to eastern Kentucky, and the logs were rafted together, and then when we had a flood, usually in the spring, they would push those rafts into the river and ride the rafts down to Frankfort, where we had at one time 6 sawmills. One time Frankfort had 12 distilleries. Of course, many of them went out because of Prohibition, but there's a lot of memorabilia there. People who farmed or fished or lived in houseboats along the river were always mindful of when the river was coming up. And of course, when the river would get high, it would flood. The penitentiary was built down where the state office building is. You just look at it and you know it's just, a hell of a place to be. It was built on land owned by Andrew Holmes, and of course it's on Holmes Street. But it was not a very pleasant place because the prisoners were expected to work pretty hard. And of course the food was very poor and sickness was rampant. Men working very hard with a poor diet, the health was very bad. The interesting thing is that the superintendent could supplement his income by these industries. And so if the penitentiary made money, then the superintendent made money.